I want to introduce you to our own marketing session speaker, Jim Gillen. He heads up sales at Magento, and we're so excited to hear him speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if you're applauding at the end of this. So as Zara mentioned, my name is Jim Gillen. I'm with Magento, which is an Adobe company. We were acquired by Adobe about a year and a half ago, something like that. I also want to introduce to you a colleague of mine, Trisha. You want to stand up really quick? Trisha is on my sales team, so she's our local rep here in the Boston area, and she's here as well. So round of applause for Trisha. I'm really pleased to be here. I'm honored, actually, to be speaking here at the Klaviyo event. I know you guys, this community is really thriving. And if you know anything about Magento, we've got a very strong community as well. And I know how important it is to the success of really all of you to have such a great, vibrant community where you're sharing and learning from each other. So it's invigorating to be here today and to see all the ideas and all the thoughts that are being exchanged. So thank you for having me. And I want to also thank Zara and the rest of the Klaviyo team for all of the support that they've given me and all the other speakers as well. It's been a fantastic experience so far. As she mentioned, I am responsible for sales and marketing here at Magento and Adobe. I've been with the company for about 4 years, but I've spent the past 15, 16 years in e-commerce and digital marketing sales. I worked for Market Live back in the day. This is like in 2006-ish timeframe. They were bought by Kibo. Then I went over to ATG, and they were bought by Oracle. Then I went over to ExactTarget, and they were bought by Salesforce. I got a little track record going. And then I worked for Magento, and they were bought by Adobe. So I've been around the block a few times, like as a farmer's insurance. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. I'm definitely not the smartest person in this room. I can guarantee you that. So I'm looking forward to any interesting dialogue or questions or conversation, either at the end of the presentation or certainly after the presentation. But I'm hoping to share with you today some insights and some things that we're seeing at Magento and Adobe on some of the trends that we're seeing with our retailers, some of the trends we're seeing in technology that's helping drive e-commerce sales. But first, before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about the current state of online retail. And then after we do that, we'll talk about the trends and some of the technology, and then we'll hopefully have some time for Q&A. So before I kind of dig into this, I want to assure you that what you're going to see here, this next picture, is not a setup. All right? This is an actual picture, 2 pictures actually, of my dining room. And I just wanted to share this with you because you'll be able to see how I know that the state of e-commerce is very strong. So you see the picture on the left is at my dining room table, and it is littered constantly. This was taken on Monday. Littered constantly with packages either coming in or returns going out. And on the right, we had a recent trip to the mall in Natick, and we brought home 2 bags. So if you kind of take a look at this comparison here, you see that online retail is extremely strong, and it's really displacing a lot of what you're seeing in the brick and mortar today. Also tells you that my wife has a relationship with the UPS driver, and my daughter is also becoming a very avid online shopper as well. But in more scientific terms, let's take a look at what we're seeing in the industry. Now, we're here with a few of our competitors at this event. So Shopify is here, and BigCommerce is here as well. And we're competitive. We're friendly competitors. But there's such a massive growth market. So there's plenty of room for all of us. And we've had a couple of decades of phenomenal growth. It's not done by any stretch. We're seeing some trends and some stats that are telling us that the future is extremely bright. For one thing, the online population growth is growing tremendously. We're basically adding, over the next couple of years, the size of the population of the United States, about 300 million people, to the population of those that will be online shopping. That's staggering, absolutely staggering. On top of that, we take a look at global commerce. And we've always talked about how everything's going cross-border, and it certainly is. All the Trump trade war controversy or concerns are not dissuading companies from selling international, whether it's Alibaba selling some of their products here in North America, or we have European customers or European and Chinese consumers buying North American goods. Cross-border is here. It's happening. If your plans don't include any kind of international expansion, they really should. All right, so you need to investigate that or look into it. The mobile surge. All right, we've been talking about mobile commerce for years, but I think it's growing faster than anyone could have predicted. We've already surpassed 50% of all web traffic on a mobile device. 50%, half, it's actually 60% of all web traffic is happening on mobile phones and tablets. And that's going to be, in 2 years, it'll jump to 73%, according to analysts. The message here is the transition to mobile is here. It's happening. It's happening right now. It's going to be the lead channel for all of commerce. Today, 73% of all global commerce transactions will be on a mobile device. That is by the end of 2021. 30 to 50% of it is done today. It's going to 73%. Now, China is by far the largest online commerce market today, with about 50% share of all global e-commerce sales is coming out of China. And that's going to grow to 60% by the end of 2021. Mobile alone in China accounts for 80% of all revenue. So they're ahead of us in most indicators, and if that's any indication, you can see where your customers are going to be shopping more and more, and it's going to be on their mobile devices. And then finally, just overall, online commerce as a percentage to total retail is growing. We know that. By the end of 2021, 17.5% of all total retail spend will be happening online, and that's up from about 12% in 2018. That's a growth of 50%, which is, again, extremely strong. But what's startling to me is we're still under 20% of all retail will be online. So the opportunity to grow is just absolutely tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And if just, again, further driving home the point that the e-com industry is strong, here's a few ETFs for those who are into finance and Wall Street. And these are some funds that are tracking e-commerce companies. And you can see the growth rates here over the past, just over the past 9 months. The returns are extremely strong. So the space we're in, it's very healthy. Consumers are going to continue the migration to be spending online and doing it so more and more on a mobile device. I wouldn't say it's recession-proof, but certainly the online e-commerce space is recession resilient or resistant, which means that your investments will continue to pay off and benefit. So it's also very important to think about the partners you're choosing. Klaviyo, for example, phenomenal partner. But you really need to find partners that are going to be looking at, when they talk about e-commerce, talk about online retail, the entire customer lifecycle. It's no longer about the buy button, right? Everyone kind of used to take a look at e-commerce as, they go to their site, they put products in their cart, and they check out, and that's the end of it. It's a complete life cycle today, and your technology needs to really be catered towards that. So from a Discover standpoint, obviously we want to be using things like artificial intelligence, machine learning. We'll talk about those in just a bit. Predictive content, social media. Okay, if you're not on Instagram today, you're missing the boat. That's exactly where it's going. Pinterest, Amazon, certainly, marketplaces, SEO. These are all ways that you can help your customers find your products. So discovering them is the first thing. How are they trying the products, right? How can they virtually try the solution? We're going to talk a little bit about augmented reality, which is really, really cool. It's fun, it's addictive, and it's driving conversion. So it's no longer, you can just see a 2D image. You can actually get really, really into 3D imagery and virtual reality and augmented reality. And of course, how do customers buy, right? It's through optimized checkouts, it's smart product configurators. Ray-Ban, if you guys are into sunglasses, go to their site. You can customize your own pair of Ray-Bans. It's awesome, all right? And it really helps you kind of visualize what the product's going to look like, and it's going to help convert. And then finally, as we look at how they're using the product, it's no longer you buy a product, you take it home, and you're using the product, and that's the end of it. It's the end of the relationship. No, you go home. If it's, for example, electronic, you're registering the product, you're downloading the app, you're getting updates, you're interacting with the brand. There's the whole Internet of Things, right? Connected products into the Internet. These are all things that we're seeing tremendous trends towards on how customers are actually using products today. And then finally, renew, right? So it doesn't just end there with that product. It's about renewing. It's about subscriptions. It's about updating loyalty programs, things of that nature. So, this is a complete life cycle. So there's a lot to consider as you're developing your online retail strategy. Luckily, the industry has a lot to offer. So there's plenty of opportunities out there for brands to really start to be more successful. I think in general, we're seeing that a lot of low-hanging fruit is still not being plucked from the tree. We've got, for example, omni-channel, buy online, pick up in store. Can I get a show of hands of who here has put technology in place to manage the process of kind of the omni-channel experience, buy online, pick up in store, and things of that nature? Show of hands? It's a fairly small percentage, right? And again, this is technology that's been out there for at least 5 years. So we think there's a huge opportunity here. Today, only 43% of large retailers are doing it, and about a quarter of SMB retailers are doing it. So we're seeing a tremendous opportunity to take advantage of that. Other examples of different opportunities that you can take advantage of is like things like Amazon Prime Day, right? This is kind of the classic case of a rising tide lifting all boats. Essentially, it's a manufactured holiday. It's like a Hallmark holiday, right? It didn't exist until Amazon decided it exists. And today, Prime Day is driving lift for all companies, all retailers that are selling online, even if they don't have any kind of special Prime-like promotions that they're putting in place. A lot of retailers are doing it, though. A lot of companies on Prime Day are putting their own little Prime Day event going to kind of counteract or really take advantage of everyone's affinity to shop on that particular day. SMB retailers saw a 28% lift in this past Prime Day, and 68% lift for larger enterprise retailers as well. So again, great opportunities on when Prime Day comes up. It's a good opportunity for you to kind of take a look at maybe putting something, some sort of promotion on place. Now, sticking with Amazon just for a moment, free shipping or one-day shipping. All right, they're the king of online retail. I would love to get some guesses on what percentage you think of all online sales in the United States is dominated by Amazon. What are some numbers? 60? What else? 49%. That's a very accurate number, or a very specific number. Anyone else? 58. It's actually 35, so it's a little bit less. I was amazed. I asked a bunch of people before this presentation. They were saying numbers like 75, 80%, which is staggering. But I think 35% is a tremendously high number. If you think about the thousands of retailers out there, even some of the bigger ones, and Amazon has 35%. Now, in second place is Walmart, 3%. 3%. So this is as of 2017, but still, this is the data that I had. But still, it's a staggering delta between Amazon and everyone else. And how do they do it? They're innovating, right? They're coming out with new innovative ideas on how to convince first-time shoppers to shop online on Amazon.com and certainly get repeat customers as well. And the one-day shipping is the latest trend. Their goal is to really be able to really break down the barriers of people that want their products right away. I think it's crazy. My wife actually thinks it's crazy too. She's like, I can't believe people can't wait an extra day. It's like, it's just the next evolution, all right? It's again, crashing down those walls of any barriers to entry to people that are going to do online shopping. Walmart's following suit. They are now offering one-day shipping to selected markets, and by the end of, I think, 2021, by the end of this year, they plan to reach about 75% of the U.S. population with one-day shipping with no membership fees. That's their kind of, shtick, right? They don't have any membership fees, and they're still going to have one-day shipping. So they're trying to kind of keep up with Amazon. But shipping is certainly a big piece of it. It's kind of like one of the top ideas or the top areas that the online kind of turf war is taking place. It's like the Holy Grail. High consideration purchases is another thing that we're seeing a big trend towards in online retail. So Tesla's a good example of this, right? At one point, they announced that they were going to close all of their showrooms and everything would be online. They backed off that, and they still have some showrooms. One is here, I think, on Boylston Street. In Natick Mall, you can go and shop for a Tesla as well, which I thought was kind of cool. But even if you do that, you're still making that purchase on a mobile device or on a desktop in the showroom. That's where the purchases are taking place. So the whole concept of kind of the used car salesman where you're spending 3 hours in a dealership and you're getting upsold warranties and options, that's all kind of being pushed away. You're doing all your research online in the comfort of your own home, and you're learning more probably about the car than you would from a salesman in a high-pressure dealer environment. Indochino is another good example. And I happen to like my blazers and my suits, but Indochino is a great example. This is a digital-first business. They were only online. Now they've recently opened some stores. But still, the predominant way that they're doing business is through the online channel. And a lot of it is being done via mobile. And they're using high-fidelity content. They're using strong product imagery. They're using 3D product configurators. They're doing AR, VR technology, return policies. I mean, companies like this are really striving to, again, make online the preferred channel for high consideration purchases. And what I consider high consideration is anything over $500, really. That's kind of like the watermark for a high consideration purchase. And back in the day, it was like, man, am I going to spend this much money on a product online? Am I really going to do this? And now today, it's, I don't want to do it anywhere else but online, right? It's more convenient. People that are spending, we're dropping, $80,000 for a Tesla, they're too busy making all that money to spend too much time in a dealership or shopping around for a car. So they want to make it easy and fast. And the future is going to see more and more brands, high-end brands, going in this direction where their brick and mortar or their retail showrooms are going to be more like assistants. They'll have associates that are non-commission based, helping customers learn about the products, but the transactions themselves will be taking place online. Now, these are some digital-first business models. They're just redefining how consumers are behaving and how they're buying. Carvana is a good example. You shop for a used car online, you make your purchase, and then you literally go and pick it up in that glass case. That reminds me of my son's little Matchbox car case when he was a kid, but that's actually real. Casper completely defined a new segment with bed in the box. How many people have bought a bed in the box here? Look, that's amazing to me. See, that just blows my mind that you are actually buying a bed online in a box, but it's what's happening. I have a memory foam mattress, but we bought it in a traditional furniture store and we had it delivered. That's just the way I like to do it. But Casper, we'll see in a minute, they're actually opening retail locations as well where you can go and try out the beds. But again, their model is really all about online. Get that bed in a box, unwrap it, and let it form. Boxed is another, speaking of boxes, Box is another interesting organization or company. Box is actually digitizing the whole BJ's, wholesale, and Costco experience. One of the worst parts about shopping at a wholesale retailer like BJ's is kind of going to the store. It's kind of cumbersome. You're in a warehouse environment. They don't really have bags, so you carry your groceries in boxes, and it's just cumbersome. So Box actually has taken that away, and they're doing that all online. BJ's, you can still shop online for some of these bulk products, but it's not the full assortment. With Box, you have a lot more options. HelloFresh, we know about HelloFresh and all the different meal plans and food prep companies. Again, really democratizing meal planning and grocery shopping into a real digital experience. Stitch Fix, they're using machine learning, artificial intelligence to kind of predict what outfits and what styles you're gonna like, and that's how their business model is being formed. And then Boston-based, Run Through Runway is another one, right? Having the opportunity for gals to have their Cinderella moment with pennies on a dollar for some of their gowns and outfits. Again, just completely changing the way customers are buying. And then Boston-based Wayfair is another good example, disrupting the entire furniture industry. They have $11 billion market cap. Now they're opening stores. There's one in the Natick Mall. If you guys haven't visited, I was there just a few weeks ago. So they're starting to kind of bridge the gap and becoming more of a retailer, which kind of is a good segue into my next slide about brands becoming retailers and retailers trying to become brands. Retail's not dead. It's going through a metamorphosis for sure, but brands are no longer relying solely on wholesale distribution and department stores. Lego is a great example of this. They had a big part of their supply chain went bankrupt with Toys R Us, and in the Nordics, a company called Top Toys. They're gone. Just gone. So they've had to expand and become more aggressive in expanding their retail brick and mortar storefronts. And they've got now, I want to say 200 or so locations. That could be wrong. Actually, don't quote me on that. But if you've been to a Lego store, you know what I'm talking about. They're really cool experiences, even for adults. Casper, we mentioned earlier, again, opening those stores. They plan to have 200 retail locations by the end of 2021. But retailers are trying to fight back. Retailers are becoming brands, or trying to at least. Target has a children's apparel brand called Cat and Jack. That brand alone can only be bought at Target, and they are literally doing $2 billion in online sales. So this is, again, just staggering to me that they can have a brand on its own that they're branding as, you can only buy it at Target, doing $2 billion in sales. Kroger's is doing something very similar with Simple Truth. It's America's largest organic brand, and you can buy it at Walgreens, you can buy it on Alibaba, and they're doing $2 billion in revenue as well. So again, Kroger's is becoming more of a brand as well. And then, of course, you have Nike with their sneakers app, the mobile app. It's the kind of exclusive channel for many new launches and product drops. So just to kind of gives you an idea of kind of where retailers are going today. Now let's talk a little bit about the technology that they're leveraging and utilizing and get into that a little bit more detail. AI and machine learning. That's the first one we'll talk about. And then we'll talk about augmented reality and virtual reality as well. But in terms of AI and machine learning, today it's helping companies make much better marketing decisions, right? Helping marketers and e-commerce professionals, such as you, work more effectively and more smart, right? And more intelligently and more effectively. It's really about tracking and pooling customer data, behavior data, applying machine learning, the algorithms and tools to simply, become more advanced at predicting what your customers are buying. Traditionally, organizations have been kind of focused on this type of technology. Companies like Certona, Rich Relevance, Baynote, MyBuy. Some of these companies have gone away. Some of them are still around. They've been acquired. But now, major e-commerce platforms like Magento and Adobe, for example, are including this type of technology within their native feature set. So it's going to be easier, and there'll be less of a barrier to entry to actually use some of this technology to help drive more predictive content. The days of kind of rules-based engines and manual, upsells and cross-sells, they're numbered. They're going away because the technology is here, and it's going to be, and it's certainly going to become more ubiquitous amongst all of different e-commerce technology. In terms of augmented reality, man, this stuff is so cool. It goes beyond visualization. It's using product physics engines. It's using technology to confirm size and fit of like feet and shoes. This is where you can actually visualize what, for example, a couch is going to look like in your living room. And this is important because some of these bulky items, they're hard to return, right? And they're expensive to ship. So you want to reduce, as a retailer, you're going to want to reduce return rates by offering this kind of technology. And you do that through tools like augmented reality. So we're seeing this in different industries. Furniture industry is obviously a really big one. Eyewear, jewelry, home improvement, makeup, fashion and footwear as well. And let's take a look at a couple of examples here. Has anyone heard of WannaKicks? WannaKicks is cool. You got to download this app. You can literally try on hundreds of thousands of shoes, without moving. You download this app, and you literally can just select the shoes, and they appear on your foot. It's just the kind of coolest thing. You got to absolutely take a look at this. It's fun, but more importantly, it's addictive. So you're going to spend a lot of time on this app, on this site. The more time you spend, the higher chance of a conversion. It's going to drive conversion rates, and it's going to reduce return rates as well. Sephora is another one. Now, I haven't tried this one for obvious reasons. It's not my thing. But the ability to take a picture of your face and then try makeup, different colors, different textures, different products. Again, it offers a really fun, enjoyable shopping environment. And ideally, it's going to lead to conversions and reduce returns. So again, this is just a couple of examples of augmented reality. Now, it's kind of a future thing. A lot of folks maybe you don't see a need in it today with your online business. But consider the possibilities, and you might feel differently. Now, another cool technology that's coming out, or that's really available today, is kind of reimagining how product photography is done online. It's really about immersive 3D and AR product media. These images here are fake. Even the one on the right with the Polaris ATV. That's a fake image. That's a completely rendered image through using technology. The human population is extremely visual. They say 65% of all learners are visual learners, and 90% of all data that's sent to your brain is done in a visual manner. So just thinking of those statistics alone, the importance of having rich product imagery is extremely important. Problem is, product photography is expensive. You gotta get the products, you gotta ship them out from wherever they're manufactured from, sometimes from overseas, multiple colors, multiple sizes. You gotta get them to the photo shoot. You gotta do the touch-up after the photography is done. It takes time, it costs a lot of money. But now there's technology available today that allows you to kind of basically create these images and do so in a much cost-effective way, and sometimes with more compelling results. Adobe's got a few different products that we're offering, but these products are ubiquitous. They're out there today. And Do Maternity. I don't know if you guys know domaternity.com. They put some advanced imagery, 360-degree views. They saw a 27% lift in conversions. Luxie hair extensions. They put images on there for before and after, and really strong, rich imagery. They saw a 17% increase in conversion rates. So, I mean, the numbers are real. Imagery is extremely important, and being able to do that in a cost-effective manner is something that we all need to be looking into. All right, and then the final topic I have here to talk about is progressive web apps. Does anybody here know what a progressive web app is? Raise a show of hands. Okay, so it's becoming more and more popular, but still a very, very small percentage of you actually raised your hands there. So it's really becoming the dominant platform for e-commerce, both on the desktop, but also more importantly on the web. It's really the new standard that we're going to be following going forward. Essentially what it does is it provides you with an app-like experience on your phone without the development costs and without the maintenance costs or the weight of an actual app. And this is where things are going. It's going to provide all the things such as conversion rate lift. It's going to have your ability to add the home screen or the icon to your home screen of your phone. It's got the navigation of an app. It's got the responsiveness of an app without all the costs. Now, I work with a lot of millennials. I consider them friends, and it's amazing what they're doing on their phones today. And a lot of you are millennials. I can look around. I'm probably the oldest person in this room. But you guys are doing everything on your phone. You're booking concert tickets. You're making dinner reservations. You're getting Lyfts and Ubers. To me, it's staggering all the things that you're doing. You're managing your entire life on your phone. So naturally, you're buying merchandise on your phone as well. So as a merchant, as a retailer, it's going to be extremely important to provide a much easier experience on the mobile device than you do on your desktop. As a matter of fact, if you go to Amazon's app today, you'll find that experience on the mobile app is probably easier to navigate than the desktop. I think the desktop the desktop experience on Amazon is cluttered. It's confusing to me. There's just too much going on. And that's how we need to be looking at the future development of your sites. Has to be thinking mobile first. What's going to be the easiest way for customers to navigate and buy products on the mobile device? So PWA, again, it's really allowing merchants to improve conversion rates, deliver high-performing site, and provide really that engaging shopping experience. Push notifications, add to home screen, offline browsing, all that's going to be super important. And analysts agree, Forrester, Gartner, they're all jumping on. I mean, Gartner estimates that 50% of all web mobile experiences will be driven by PWAs by 2020. So this is something that we really need to be looking into. Just again, taking a look at some of the different benefits or ways that PWAs can support your digital customer lifecycle. It's really through 4: acquisition, conversion, retention, and engagement. It's a bit of an eye chart here. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Are these presentations going to be made available to all the attendees? Okay, good. And if not, you can see me after. I'm happy to send this. There's a lot of data on this deck. I'm happy to send it out. But you can see here, just from an acquisition standpoint, it's very modern, it's very responsive, high-performing UI. From a conversion standpoint, we have the ability to really offer personalized content. That's the biggest win, right? So as a customer's coming back, it's recognizing your past purchase behavior. It's providing personalized recommendations and content. From an engagement standpoint, we're really talking about things like push notifications, right? Being able to pull that consumer back into the web experience and get them shopping again. And then from a retention standpoint, it's things like new product upgrades and reminders, coupons, things of that nature, subscriptions to get them to come back and purchase more. So again, PWAs is kind of where the future is going for mobile, and I encourage you to look more into it if you guys aren't investigating a PWA project today. I have one final slide here, and it's a lot of data, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but really from a trend standpoint, this kind of summarizes kind of what we've been discussing today, and is really the ability to kind of redesign the whole customer experience to make it much more seamless. You know, we talk about omni-channel and mobile. I mean, mobile today accounts for about 60% of total e-commerce today, and about a third of all customers that are shopping today are doing some sort of buying online, pickup in store, some sort of omni-channel aspect. So that's a large percentage of your customers. So they're expecting it. And as these shoppers are kind of traversing different channels, they're really expecting convenience, personalization, kind of that flawless experience. You know, 80% of shoppers, they want a personalized experience online. So we need to be focused on providing them with relevant content and products that they're most prone to be interested in. And in terms of mobile, or in terms of, just business models continuing to evolve, I mean, consider that, you know, 40% of online retail will be transacted in marketplaces today. So marketplaces, you know, sometimes it's kind of a bad word for a lot of folks because they're losing a lot of revenue, a lot of margin on the marketplace, but it's where customers are shopping today. There are organizations like Miracle based here in Boston. They built their entire business around managing that marketplace environment. 25% of all online shoppers are receiving subscriptions. So I know I was talking to Tricia earlier. She gets subscription every month. She's getting, you know, diapers and cleaning wipes and things that she needs on a monthly basis. And I'm sure a lot of you are getting something delivered, whether it's makeup, maybe wine, you know, on a monthly basis. I like the wine idea myself. I think Tricia does as well. But these are real, right? Subscription-based products and solutions are something that is becoming extremely popular today. And then finally, we know that, you know, here at Klaviyo, we're very much about data, actionable data, to help drive conversions, to help drive relevant content. And today, it's encouraging for me to read this stat here from, I believe it was eMarketer. 75% of all businesses today are using AI of some sort, right, in their experience. So they're collecting data, and they're using that data in some sort of way to drive personalization, to drive engagement with their consumers. And again, 58% of all business leaders are talking about analytics and how it's really improving, helping them get a competitive advantage. So again, that's a lot of data. We'll make these slides available for you folks. I'm at the end of my presentation, but do we have time for questions? Got a few minutes?
Thank you so much. Does
Okay.
anyone have any questions for Jim? We got about 5 to 10 minutes, so we can take a couple. No? Yep. Oh. So are there any stats on progressive web apps?
In terms of like the adoption rate and the usage? Yeah, so again, I think, the statistics show that I think about 50% of all web apps are going to be, will be PWAs by the end of, I think, 2020. But in terms of adoption and in terms of lift it's giving, I don't have that in front of me, but that's a great takeaway. It would be interesting to see what type of return you know, PWAs are driving, as opposed to standard, you know, what do you call it, you know, responsive apps, responsive web mobile experiences.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. It's interesting and always looking for ways to like stay relevant in the future and not have our businesses die, surprisingly.
Did you know, so to interrupt you, that over the past, I want to say it was 10 years. No, okay. You know, I got to find the stat. It's crazy that 50% of all Fortune 500 companies are gone. And I think it was the past 20 years.
It's crazy.
50% of all Fortune 500 companies no longer exist. Either they've been acquired or they've gone out of business. So you're right. I mean, e-commerce is thriving, and you're all growing, ideally, but the threat is real. If you don't keep up, you run the risk of extinction at some point. So it's great that you're recognizing that.
Thanks. Good start. So my question is pretty granular, but just something that you get me thinking. I have a really small business. I make and sell jewelry, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to develop now a way for people to try on the necklace on the website, right? Like see a simple app for them to see the jewelry on their body on the website. Do you have any recommendations on where to start as far as finding a company that can help me with that functionality?
Yeah, I do actually. There's a lot of agencies just here. Are you in the Boston area? Yeah, we should talk after. There actually might be some people in this room as well that could potentially help you. But yeah, there are absolutely some agencies and some system integrators that work with Magento, Shopify, all the different vendors, e-commerce platforms out there that can help you with that. And there's a lot of technology out there today as well. I mean, it'd be kind of silly for me to kind of list off all the different tools because there's probably just too many, and off the top of my head, I can't think of one. But we can absolutely have a conversation about that, and I can introduce you to a few folks that might be helpful to you. Yeah.
And just to add on to that, we have a great partner team here at Klaviyo. So if you ever do need to reach out, we can always work with you to set you up.
So in regards to PWAs, are you foreseeing that they're going to replace the mobile site or the actual URL, or are you thinking that it'll be important for retailers to have both?
So here's where I lean over my skis a little bit too much sometimes because I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer. I'm a sales guy, right? But PWAs is really going to be, it's a new standard on how to develop and how to deploy websites in general, right? So as you're developing your website with a PWA framework, you're actually creating that mobile web experience at the same time. So the days of when you would want to have your own web app, you'd have two different development teams running parallel, exchanging data, making sure product updates are being done at the same time. It was very cumbersome. Now it's going to be one experience. And it's going to be different from just a typical responsive site, which if you go to a responsive site today and you just shrink the screen, you'll see the different breakpoints where things start to reorganize. But this is going to be much more app or mobile friendly because it's going to feel and run like an app itself. And it's going to be really just more out of the box.
Time for one more question.
Okay, it's Amr from Bluefish. I just have a question. Now, regarding the PWA, does that apply to everyone, or from my standpoint, that it's really based on what Google at some point will provide to that specific website, and not anyone can do it and so on? Is that correct, or?
So no, my understanding, and again, if anyone else, by the way, I asked earlier, I said I'm not the smartest person in the room. If anyone else has any insights or can answer these questions any better, please feel free. No, so first of all, understand that with the PWA environment, you're still going to have the ability to have Google index, and your search relevancy should actually improve. But in terms of being able to rely or depend on whether Google actually provides you with that, allows you to have that PWA kind of experience, no, it's really more about the framework where you're developing your site in general is really what it comes down to. But I have someone that I want to introduce you to, and anyone else that wants to get into much more detail about PWAs, I have some resources within Magento and Adobe that can absolutely answer these questions in much more granular detail than I could. Okay, I'm sorry I can't get more detailed.
Well, I just wanted to thank Jim one more time. I feel like that session was awesome. I learned so much about the landscape of our e-commerce system today. So thank you so much. Could we get a round of applause for Jim? That was awesome.
Thank you.